Go.
Okay, so we cannot see the dura mater, but the arachnoid matter is where all the little veiny parts are. The falx cerebri connect the two lobes. So if you look very carefully in there, you can see the connective tissue. That would be the falx cerebri. Tentorium cerebelli separates the cerebellum from the cerebrum.
Is there any tissue in there that we can... There you go.
Well,
Not really. Okay.
okay. The telencephalon.
The whole cerebrum.
Yes. The central hemispheres. And then there's the longitudinal fissure. Thank you, assistant. We have the gyrus, which are the lumps.
The hills.
And the sulcus, which are the valleys. Thank you, assistant. We have the frontal lobe. Let me turn it around so you can see it clearly. What else do we have here? We have the olfactory bulbs. Excuse me while I flip this so you can see. Bulbs and tract. That's the tract. And if you look carefully, you can see the tiny little bulbs right at the end there. Okay, now we have our lobes. Moving right along here. We have the parietal lobes, the temporal lobe, thank you, the frontal lobes, as well as the occipital lobes. Thank you. The diencephalon, if we flip it over here, if you'd be so kind as to circle around the diencephalon area, that would be very helpful. Thank you very much. We have the optic chiasma, which is somewhere around here.
Oh, we have to cut for that.
Okay,
We have to cut for that. Sorry,
Come back
video.
to that. All right. Pituitary gland. Well, we have the hole. It's a jagged hole. A jagged hole. And that area around the jagged hole...
What went into that hole?
Well, that would have been the pituitary gland and the infundibulum, which is the stem of the pituitary gland. The area... The tuber cinereum is the area around the jagged hole.
There you go.
Okay.
Vagina 1.
Vagina, also known as vagina 1. The mammillary bodies, can we see them on here? Yeah, it's just this big lumpy thing. It's actually one body on the sheep's brain.
Where? Oh yeah, I think it's a small one right below the hole, that one.
Mammillary body right there. This is where we feel our emotions from our smelling sense of smell. Mm-hmm. Okay. The cerebellum, often described as a little nugget hanging right from the end of the brain. It's hanging out there. It has a transverse fissure that separates the cerebellum from the cerebrum, as well as the cerebellar hemispheres, which would be these two lobes on either side. The arbor vitae we will see in just a moment when we cut this brain right in half. The brain stem. Let me just turn this over for you so you can see. The cerebral peduncles, they're the 2 feet. Right there, bam.
They hold up the brain.
Yes, we have the twin bodies. I would like to show them to you now. Here they are. That would be the superior and the inferior. Thank you. Such a good job. Those are the superior colliculi, and inferior colliculi.
They are part of the what, though?
Of the corpora quadrigemma, the twin bodies. Thank you. Quadrigemina. We have the pineal gland. Let me just pull this bad boy out so you can see.
Little tongue or vagina 2?
That's vagina 2. A little bean. Also known as the G-spot, I believe.
Or the clitoris.
All right, it's a personal thing, personal preference. The pons, The pons would be this little walnut-shaped, also looks like an artichoke heart to me.
Where is it?
This is this part. It's the part right before
On
the
each
medulla
side?
oblongata. It's just that whole little nugget.
But there's one on each side, right? Or
If
no?
you cut in half,
I think it's just one
it's
thing.
just one thing.
Okay.
The medulla oblongata also turns into the spinal cord once it leaves the brain. And there is a ventral median fissure, which I believe you can see a little bit more clearly right here. Yes, on the medulla oblongata. Now we will cut. Wait!